Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. O Mother, take us from unreal to real, from ignorance to bliss, darkness to wisdom of light, from death to immortality. Peace, peace, peace. Today we take you across a dynamic, fresh, and a blissful approach to the journey that we are taking up. I've taken up now for several decades and more decades to go. And this is India. I want you to have a look at it. India is the only country in the world which, right from childhood, boyhood, we have been taught through our spiritual practices, teaching, religious understanding, that all religion teaches us respectful thing. And thapakaya dharmasya sarva dharmanna samarpana. Approach all religion and take the wealth. India is the only one where we have been taught to be respectful to all religion. It is wonderful to see whether even in Velur Math, the famous Ramakrishna mission, when you're going down there, you will find right on the left hand side there is a mosque. And when people are coming there and they're doing the bending down their head, and when they approach inside the Velur Math, they said, what a peaceful place. Same thing, as you're going down into the lands of in UP, in Bihar, in Orissa, in South, you will find people going down. We just went to Banaras recently. Every corner there is a beautiful little temple. And everywhere you will find everybody is doing pranam. Irrespective, they don't even know what is inside, who is the idol. This is the greatness of the teachings of the Indian, of Sanatan Dharma. So, blissful, fresh jewels from the religion of all. And look at it this way, right now, Mahavir Jayanti went on. Holy month of Ramadan is going on. And this is the Holy Week of Christianity. Today is the beginning of the Holy Week. The Thursday is the Last Supper's day of the Jesus Christ. He knew that this is the last night he is going to be alive. And he knew that Judah is the one who is going to deceive him. And I will tell you a little bit about the Last Supper. And then tomorrow is the Good Friday. He was crucified. He knew that his flesh and the blood is going to be sacrificed for the will of God, for removing the sins of the rest of the people. He gave his life. He knew it very well. And you know what? If you go through the Holy Week, there are lots of available data. He knew when he was going in for the Last Supper that this will be the last day. He knew Judah, for his filled silver coin, is going to lead the Roman soldier to him for crucifixion. He could have easily, from that olive garden, he could have easily gone off to the other side of the mountain, gone off and hid along with his favorite disciple. There were thousands of his followers, came from all over. He did not. He waited. He wanted to give it off. He even, just before he shared the last meal at the Last Supper, he went onto the other side of the hall. He took off all his clothes excepting the undergarment, and he wrapped a towel around his waist, and then he sat down, starting from one after another disciple. He took a bowl of water and took a jug of water, and he washed all his disciples' feet, excepting the Judas. And when he came to John, John said, I will never let you wash my feet, because you are my God, you are the Lord, and you are my teacher, you are my guru. How can I let you touch my feet and wash my feet? And Jesus smilingly said, if I do not wash your feet, you cannot be my disciple. And then John said, you may wash my feet, but you may wash my hand too. And he gave his hand. Beautiful story. It's wonderful. He washed everyone, then he came down, put on his clothes and sat down. He took the bread and he said, this is my flesh. And he gave the wine and he said, this is my blood. Just as I have washed your feet, I want you, after I leave this, I'm going away, far away, where you cannot come. But I want you, each one of you, to love as I have loved you, and spread this love to everyone. Remove their suffering and remove their sin. Wash their feet as I have done. Do not be preached. By those days, the priests used to be sitting on the Almighty. He said, you be humble. You know, when he came in, he knew that he is going in on a donkey's back, and he knew that he is going to be crucified after this. And yet he came like a king, and thousands followed him. This is on the crucifixion. You know, before that, he was carried through the same steps through which he had come down. And he had already seen it in his vision. Just see what kind of a tremendous tenacity of purpose for the love of God and love of people that he did. We would be concentrating on the teachings of Jesus, in which on the Sunday, Easter Sunday, he resurrected himself after he was, he crucified on Friday. Saturday they took out his body down. His neck was chopped off despite his crucifixion and death. The Romans made sure by chopping his head. And yet, Jesus Christ resurrected himself from the cave. We'll tell you more about this part of it. In brief, today, what I wish to touch upon a little bit about, Paramahansa Yogananda. He wrote a beautiful 2 volumes. They are with you. I'll share with you again on Sunday, on second coming of Jesus Christ. In which in the first volume, he's talking about that how sojourn of Jesus in India, he has discovered that, and I have lots of books where today they are available in YouTube, that Jesus Christ came to India, lived for 17 years, and then he left his body, and his dead body was grounded in the grave just 1.5 kilometer from the Jama Masjid. And all the description that there in the YouTube, just Google in Jesus lived in India. You will find all the details. And you know what, something? This film is not made by anybody other than Government of India, FDII, Film Division Institute of India, with the government stamp, giving the authenticity and the description which is given. In which, before Jesus Christ, he used to teach thousands, and people came from all over Judea, they came from Nazareth, they came from Bethlehem, they came from Jordan, all the way from lots of places. 3 to 4 days they used to travel just to come to the Olive Garden and listen to him. Now, Jesus Christ went on to, for his chosen few, he would take them to a mountain where he would isolately, so that others cannot hear, his choicest teaching. And this book is written by another monk of Ramakrishna, the Swami Pranavananda, on the Sermon on the Mount and the Vedantic view. You'll be amazed to hear that there is no differences on the Vedanta, and as he had talked about, not literally in that way because Vedanta is vast, but Jesus Christ's teachings on the Sermon on the Mount closely followed. I will share with you a few. I want you to also understand, Swami Vivekananda, wherever he went, he used to carry two books with him. One was Ashtavakra Gita. Many of you are very familiar. We have talked about it. And second was this is Thomas Kempis, and this is Imitation of Christ. These two books. I will also talk about a little bit on Evergrace. Evergrace is one of the very young monk, became very famous, and he used to write, and one of his book is on the prayer. So now, let us go into the teachings of Jesus Christ, a few of them today. Teachings of the Jesus Christ. On the Sermon on the Mount, he took into the mount. This mountain is called the Mountain of Beatitude. Beatitude means actually the beautification or blessedness of the Jesus Christ. Blessedness, blessings. And in the hill, this is actually in the northern Israel and in the Chorazim plateau. It's a plateau where the hill is called the Chorazim is the name, and it is where Jesus is believed to have given the best of the sermon to his favorite. The purpose of the Sermon on the Mount, is going on to very simply is talked about by Jesus Christ is to create heaven on earth by the belief of the Christianity. As per Vedanta, this belief of the Christianity is nothing else but on the pure theistic language, on the faith and bhakti. Maybe those who are theologians, they might say, no, this bhakti is different kind. Yes, but actually speaking, if you look at it very carefully, not really. It is the faith, it is the love for God, it is to Son of God, and great teaching. My approach today is the blessedness, what we had talked about right at the beginning when I started off. That if you look carefully, this is the dynamic divine blessedness, blessings of all religion. Where is Ramadan going on, or Mahavir Jayanti just went by, or the Holy Week, or Buddha, Mahavir Jain, Guru Nanak, Guru Gobind Singh, Ramana Maharshi. We must take on, and this is the teachings of the India all along, is to respect and understand those jewels of the teachings of all religious teachers and make it your own through Shravanam, listening, Mananam, reading, asking question, dwelling on it, reflection on it, and Nidityasanam. This is the Vedantic way of learning. This is called India's Sanatan Dharma. All religion takes you to the same path. You call the water or pani or jal or tani or you in French, everything is water. This is the journey now. In Sermon on the Mount, something very interesting. This is two closest of the disciples, as I told you. Many of the disciples, Ramana Maharshi, Paramahansa Yogananda, Ramakrishna, in temple garden of Dakshineshwar, he would take his 9-10 disciples inside the room, lock the door, look outside, nobody is looking, and then he would teach them. These Jesus, what he taught, or Ramakrishna, or all the great masters, they never taught just words. I'm going to share with you those words with the basic teaching because they're available. So is of the great masters like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, they are all available. But what Ramakrishna Paramahansa gave, what Jesus Christ gave, is much more than just the word. He gave them special blessings, and this is called the heavenly blessedness. That's why I call it the dynamic blessedness of today's teaching. Today, Hanscom, who is a Christian theologian. He is the teacher of the last Pope. He says, Hanscom says, purpose of this teaching is only, by the church says, only meant for a few. Those who are going to be the preacher. It is only for those apostles. Whereas Tolstoy says, Tolstoy, very famous writer, that it is for establishing the kingdom of heaven on earth is the reason for. Actually, what is it meant for? It is meant for Vedantic way and the understanding of Vivekananda, Paramahansa Ramakrishna, Jesus Christ teaching, Paramahansa Yogananda's writing. It is for establishing heaven on earth, for realizing God, nothing else. Now, the first of the beatitude is, blessed are those who are pure in heart, for they shall see God. Purity. All religion talks about establish purity. How do we do it in our life? Remember, we keep talking about our Sunday session. Start right from this moment. Even in a joke, don't tell lies. Hold on to purity. Start by finding no fault in others. The moment issue comes in, a kind of a conflict comes in your mind, despite being good, we are good people. The moment that finds a fault in your husband, in your wife, in your friend, in your people, you ask yourself, what is my fault? I need to look into my fault and rectify them. Holy Mother Sharada says, do not see fault in others. Jesus Christ is saying, if you want peace, my child, let others' will be done. Do not find fault in that will. Let it be done. There is a very famous monk in Himalaya. He says, you want samadhi? Some devotee has gone down and he says, samadhi dijiye. Like they've read about Vivekananda, they got samadhi from Paramahansa Ramakrishna, and one Paramahansa Yogananda got it from Yukteswar Giri. So he said, 2 minutes पे समाधि देंगे in उत्तरांचल. He says, पहले चित्त शुद्धि, मन को प्योर करके आ जाओ. First come with purity in your heart. There are many ways to fall. Sermon of Jesus on the Mount teaches how to stand in life. That's the beauty. How to stand in life. The Gospels of Mark, Luke, Matthew and John talks about it. Particularly the book of Matthew is talk about the Sermons on the Mount. The golden rule of the Matthew in 7.02 and the Lord's Prayer, Matthew's 6.9 to 6.15 talked about blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Those who truly mourn, they will receive the comfort of the heavenly blessings of the Lord God as per the Christianity. What does this mourn mean? Paramahansa Ramakrishna said, we all cry for our children, our grandchildren, our husband, our wives, our money, our property, our sickness, our health, relationship. He asked, who cries for God? There is a beautiful incident. Ramakrishna Paramahansa only had said, if you can cry 3 continuous days without planning for it, naturally, you will find God. And if you look carefully, what did Ramakrishna Paramahansa do? He used to cry for mother even before all his teaching from Totapuri and from Bhairavi Ma. He already had darshan of the Mother Kali. And he used to cry, roll on the Dakshineshwar hard ground, in the river bank, roll the stones of the bank and of the hard ground is to bleed his cheek. And he used to say, Mother, one more day has gone, I have not seen you. Are you Chinmay or Mrinmay? Meaning, are you made of Chinmay, consciousness, purity? You are actually alive? Or you are Mrinmay, only made out of earth with no meaning, just made of rock? And he had the vision. So there's a lady in Hollywood. approaches the Ramakrishna Mission monk and Swami Ashokananda, and she asks him, I want to see God, what should I do? Ashokananda says, if you cry for 3 days, then you will see God. Repeated Ramakrishna's word. And she said, no problem, I can cry like that. And she goes back next week, again in the gathering she comes. She said, what is this, Swamiji? I cried for 3 continuous days. I can cry like that. So Ashokananda says, I didn't know what to tell her. So she came, when Ashokananda came back to India, and he happened to meet that time President Swami Vajanananda, and he asked, please tell me, what should I have answered her? Swami Vajanananda was known to have told that crying is not just crying, it is the heart which has to come. I will, towards the end of today's session, I want you to understand, before going to a temple, we take off our shoes, isn't it? Just like that. When you listen to this sermon, when you read, when you sit down for your prayers, when you actually sit down, don't just look at your clock and say, I have done 45 minutes or 1 hour of meditation. I have heard many of the devotees, and they actually make up for their faith, but their mind is everywhere. When you sit down, like you take off the shoes before you enter a temple, take off your appointment, your posture, your position, your, whether your wife, husband, children, take them off and just focus with God. How do you do that? This is where purity, breathing technique, and as you keep practicing, yes, mind will tend to go away because you and I are not Buddha, not Jesus Christ, not Paramahamsa, but continue to sit still, be still, practice every day, at least 1 hour minimum, sit for a while and just watch how. There are beautiful other teachings of the Jesus Christ. I will cover them in as much possible in detail. How many really want God? I had this vision, 2 of them, with which I would like you to think. You've gone to Tirupati, okay? And you're praying to Tirupati. Think, all right? There's a vision I had. Imagine. And suddenly you see as if that thousands of people around you just vanished. And as if you're standing in that hall all by yourself. And Tirupati Narayan is coming alive and says, son, daughter, I like your approach. Come to me. Come. I will take you with me to heaven. Think, how many of us will really go? We say, yes, 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 Lord. I know I would love to, but listen, I have that job and I have this wife and this husband and this children and rich grandchildren and this business. Give me a little time. Think, reflect on it. My question is today, we cry for many, but we do not cry for God. My question to you today for reflection, we love to go out and eat beautiful puri bhaji of Bihar. We love to eat the golgappa and let's say the Arsalan biryani of West Bengal or the very famous rasgulla. We love to eat the South Indian idli, dosa. We love to eat the Punjabi very special curries and roti and the dal. We love to eat the Mughlai food of Hyderabad, and we love to wear different clothes. We love to wear the sari, the different kind of a clothes, the pattern, the dresses of the people. Tell me, we have no problem about wearing various clothes, their traditions, rituals, and food, drinks. We have no problem in trying them out. We enjoy them. Enjoy the golgappa, the pav bhaji of Maharashtra. But tell me, why does our heart constrict, despite the teachings of India, to respectfully listen to the jewels of the great masters of all religion? My request is this holy week, this holy month of Ramadan, this just now, the Mahavir Jayanti went by. Open up your heart, open up your mind, read anything that comes in your way. And remember that India is famous because of this. You know, today, the great thinkers of the world, they all respect India, Bharat. And because of this, today, Vasundhara Kutumbakam, this is going on with, Narendra Modi ji. Not wanting to be political, but I'm telling you, the G20 members, what does it mean? We are all one. We are all one. This oneness in Vedanta, remember our understanding of the ocean and the wave and the water. We will go into in little more detail on that. This oneness, why does it change? Why does it become different? Only simple one reason. You know what happens? Samsara starts up the moment I put my name unto myself. Robbin Ghosh, name, form and function. This is me. And the moment I do that, this is me, from childhood onwards, I want to make this one happy. By feeding this, we put on weight and yet we keep on feeding. We know insulin is coming up, is going to be overweight, diabetic problem will come up, and yet we keep on eating. And we give it all kind of clothes and ornament and the iPhones and the Samsung and the computers and various cars and house and the property, trying to make this one happy. Relationship and children and grandchildren and houses and property and travel around the world. For what? Making this one happy. Reflect upon it. The moment we start to think about not I, me and myself, what is it I can do for you? And this is what the teachings of the Jesus, of the great masters, is first think about you. Y-O-U. If you think that your wife, your husband is that Lord Shiva and the Durga Mata, or if you look at it on any religious practices that you believe in, is the Supreme Lord, Supreme Divine, Divinity, how different would our approach be to them? And sure, our human mind, as it is, because it has got a lot of junk it is carrying on from the previous birth, yet ask yourself, what is my fault? And hold on to truth. I wish you good luck. Jai Guru.